EDC1200 video assignment, multimedia presentation, W0101236, Richard Alfred Price. How might education mediate difference and dominance? Censorship. My central focus is grade 11 seniors high school, which I'm basing this talk on. Google compromising its search engine to meet Chinese government standards. Little Big Planet 2 release date delayed due to background music containing lines from the Quran. The stripping of a billboard advertising safe sex for same-sex couples, and a constant banning of the book Catcher in the Rye. What do all these events have in common? Censorship is a multifaceted word of many meanings and definitions. Much of the initial idealism behind censorship is a set of moral codes and practices that restrict the information to the public that may potentially harm or upset in the act of general decency deemed regulated by government or private bodies. Leisure censorship is the most common, encompassing video games, music, internet, film, books, etc. But a lesser but still active is political, the scientific and academic, military, and freedom of speech and expression, of the less reported. Censorship, though, is not limited purely to the clandestine moral roots of right and wrong, by censoring of abrasive language, nudity, drug use, etc., but can all be more subtle and used as a tool to conveniently quell information and content that may be inflammatory to those bodies. Australia has the third highest strictest censorship laws in the world, following the United Kingdom and China. The ACB, the Australian Classification Board, is the central agency of classification in Australia. The deeming of what constitutes explicit is a divisive topic at best, constantly in debate. The nature of all censorship lies in the fears or reactions from the public. However, in some of the more extreme cases, it's more counterproductive and creates division between the people and those bodies. But the central question is, how does education mediate difference and dominance with this topic? The dominance by perception is seen as the general Joe average public and the government. The difference between those is those who deviate from the standard codes and practices and behaviours from that which deemed by society. This is primarily a binary viewpoint of something that's far from the case. We are made of a composite of differing opinions and cultural identities. As cited within Cultural Identity 2nd edition, globalisation is a growing mobility across frontiers, mobility of goods, commodities, information, communication products and services, and mobility of the people. Identity is then in a constant state of flux, and the formation of evolution of identity and the national and the community basis changes as minority, both racial and cultural or otherwise, become the majorities and vice versa. Australia and the world as those are seen within a postmodern frame of mind when it comes to the formation of identity. Censorship encompasses a variety of topics, including sexual orientation, political, religious beliefs, and independent critical thinking. Within a school setting, young individuals are asked these questions of themselves and the world around them. In a socio-cultural understanding, excessive censorship may do more harm than good. Censorship can be a guise as protecting, but often creates a greater ignorance from the world and the important topics and discourse in society, leading to the marginalisation and loss of people's own identity locations. Every day, news articles, television shows, radio broadcasts, and insights are taken away from people's viewings. Opinions are being crushed and ideas are not being fully realised. Content is being censored and the general public personal views are being expressed to society as told to teach, entertain, and relate to the public. To alter these is to change the meaning. And the complete blindfold of the world I would deem would be detrimental to adolescents' understanding of the world, others, and more importantly, of themselves. As a target grade for this topic is senior high school, for the optimum benefit for the students to engage, digest, learn of the topic of censorship itself, censorship will explore via a stimulated teaching episode. The lesson plan presented will encompass the topic with respect to individual and collective identities. Difference, dominance, and diversity will be taught using Bloom's taxonomy to endow a great understanding of the topic in regards to identity. To begin, the class will be asked as a group, what does censorship mean to them personally, to get an understanding of their perceptions and understand the concept itself. By engaging the students with a question posed to them, they will feel more involved as part of the lesson. Once some pupils have answered the question, what censorship is, they'll be asked if they themselves have seen any examples of it within day-to-day life. The class will be then shown a section of visual aids via a PowerPoint presentation and talk. During the talk, the topic will be outlined and explained what is censorship and its functions and reasons. Accompanying the talk, visuals such as blacked out textbook, an explicit warning label, a blurred black bar effect on faces, and the bleep sound effect and a news story, net censorship backfires by the Australian newspaper will be utilised. The visuals will also be commented on to provide context to the images and with respect to the topic itself. This will help found an early rudimentary understanding of the topic and provide a basis to extend how censorship relates to information of identity and its locations, and the shaping perspectives of dominance and difference within society, and the basic understanding of diversity of cultural sensibilities. Briefly, censorship will be discussed with regards to the discourse of marginalisation. The distinction of censorship of not just to conceal information deemed offensive, but a potential to disenchant and create division among members of the community from people of difference, including sexual orientation, religious belief, race and social activities and cultural practices, is unlimited. The class after the presentation will be provided a stimuli topic from the PowerPoint for discussion in groups of 3. The class will be asked to analyse the article in terms of what censorship is at play and detrimental effects on society, and what makes it dominant in its perspective and what makes it different. Students will gain an appreciation for the understanding of diversity, and that one person, place or thing is not absolute black and white, but has both qualities and often can be a grey area of understanding. After the lesson, the homework task will be set for students to search for resources on marginalisation with consideration to their own identity locations, and individually and as a collective part of society. Access to resources may be utilised via the web, printed resources at home, at school, including news stories, works of fiction, radio, TV programs, film, pictures and artwork. Students the following week will be asked to present a 7-minute oral presentation on themselves regards to censorship and the formation of identity itself. By allowing students to ask themselves who they are in respect to their own location in respect to identity, they become aware of themselves as opinionated, gendered, class, race individuals, comprising a vast array of beliefs, ideology, social and cultural predispositions. By virtue of this exercise, students will be educated by the effect of censorship as to marginalised diversity and the construction of the appearance of the other, and the social division and discrimination within a community. The classroom lesson and the task sets will now have an endowed knowledge of the potential discriminatory nature of censorship and the detriment to people's freedoms, ethical, social, personal, religious or otherwise. I'm Richard Price, and I'm saying that
the freedom. Here you go, America. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you. Oh, good. Honey, I heard on the news.